Hello everyone, this is part 16 of What If Naruto Got Lost During His Training TS, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. After that night, Naruto returned to spying on the people in the underground. While doing so, he found out that the people being subjected to such cruel fates were not just prisoners or slaves. Some were citizens that disagreed with the majority of the nobles and military. Some of these people were even members of the daimyo's clan itself. As Naruto watched all the suffering, he tried to come up with ways to get them out of there, but all of his plans were either incomplete or nearly impossible to implement. One of his major problems was that he didn't know how to get there in the first place. All the grates that he had found were sealed shut. There was no way in through the shafts that was not obvious. He learned that there was a labyrinth worth of chambers beneath the city. He just couldn't figure out how to get there. He could try and make his situation worse by getting arrested, but there was a possibility that he would get killed outright. He could use his skills and abilities, but there was a big possibility that he'd get caught. He didn't know a lot of things concerning the underground tea facility. Aside from how to get in, he didn't know if there were times that the tea victims were ever left alone. He didn't know if there were guards in place. If there were guards, he didn't know where they were stationed. There were many variables that he didn't know about. Kage Bushin wouldn't help him solve his problem this time. The only viable solution was to use ultimate Chisio Bushins, but there was a problem in using those. Normally his regenerative ability allowed him to need only a single drop of blood to create a regular Chisio Bushin, but when it came to the modified version, it took a lot more than just a drop to create even one. One ultimate Chisio Bushin would cost him 1/4 of his total blood supply. The difference between an ultimate clone and an ultimate blood clones was that the second one, even though it could of blood loss, would last a whole lot longer than a regular ultimate clone. It had more blood in it. Couple the already large supply of blood with the Naruto's regenerative ability, and you get a longer lasting clone. Normally Naruto would use ultimate clones, but in a place like the underground facility, the clones would need to last a whole lot longer than normal. Naruto could only afford to create one clone. He knew that it was a bit cold-hearted to send one of his clones to a place like that, but it was necessary. He also really didn't want to experience what his clone would be experiencing, but he had to endure. For the greater good and all that. It took Naruto 3 weeks to prepare himself and to safely create the clone. It would also take a week more for the clone to somehow get sent to the place. Naruto also figured out how to get into the place, without being thought of as a liberator or a spy. It would be risky, but Naruto was hoping that it would work. So a month after his first encounter with the underbelly of Sakura no Kuni, Naruto once again found himself in the presence of the daimyo. First he showed the daimyo some new works of art, but the quality was somewhat lower than the ones that he had first brought before the ruler. He said he would have given the ruler more beautiful gifts, but he was running low on inspiration as of late. He also claimed that he had seen a disturbing sight. There was a man that had been stalking him. Naruto said that the man was probably one of the causes for the quality of his art to have decreased. Aside from being a master in the field of medicine, a master chef, a seemingly unbeatable foe on the battlefield, and a master of the arts, Naruto was a very good actor. Acting was a skill that he had acquired in his youth, and that he had further refined while training in Zombie Sensei's world. It was also the reason why it was easy for Naruto to create personalities on the fly, which was why his clones were able to act like totally different people. It was also why making some of the clones more real easier. It was also the reason why Naruto was able to play God sometimes. After listening to Naruto, the daimyo acted in the way which Naruto wanted him to act. He said that if Naruto could describe the person, he would have him arrested, and if Naruto wanted, he could punish the man and get back at him for taking away his inspiration. So Naruto described the man as having long black hair, yellowish eyes, a long face, pale skin, and looked to be wearing purple makeup around his eyes. The man looked exactly like Orochimaru, even acted like the serpent a bit. Naruto was going to enjoy beating the crap out of his Orochimaru clone. When he got the memories, he would just erase them somehow, either erase them or lock them away in some deep and dark corner of his mind. that or take the memory out of his mind, dump it in a bowl or dump it into someone else's mind. After Naruto gave the ruler the description of the man, the daimyo told him that he would be informed when the man was apprehended and Naruto would be brought to where the stalker would be held. Naruto was informed of the capture and led to the underground tea chambers on the night of that very same day. He quickly memorized the way to get in, as well as all the other minute details of his TS. Details like how many guards were there, where were the other entrances and exits, the number of other rooms, chambers, and cells that he passed, how the locks looked, all those kinds of stuff. The guards brought him to the room where the clone was being held in. Inside the room the daimyo himself was also waiting for Naruto. He claimed that he wanted to see what Naruto could do. With the daimyo himself watching, Naruto put on a show. He beat up the defenseless clone with his bare hands. Not long after he started pounding the crap out of the clone, Naruto's clothes were stained red with blood. He wasn't wearing his red outfit. Actually, he hadn't worn the outfit for a long time. The last time that he did was right before he left his fortress city. By the end of the tea session, the daimyo was impressed by how Naruto handled the prisoner. In his eyes, Naruto was a true artist. There wasn't a place in which the clone wasn't bleeding. He informed Naruto that there was no schedule in which he had to follow to gain access to the underground. It was open to all who knew of its existence the whole day. But most people preferred to go there at night, the time that mirrored the day. Naruto asked if he could tour the facility, which the ruler answered that he could. He could even visit the other residents of the underground and play with them. After the daimyo left Naruto alone with his prisoner, Naruto left the room and went exploring. He decided that he would personally map out the entire place, a task that could not be accomplished in one night, or day for that matter. It took Naruto a full 2 weeks to map out the entire underground. He had found a lot of captives, as well as people that were supposed to be S. He even found some people that he didn't think he'd ever see locked up in the place. But out of all the people that he had seen in the underground, there were two that had shocked him the most. The first one was the previous daimyo. The previous daimyo was the only one out of all of the daimyos of his line that had tried to end the war, but apparently his son would have none of that. The other Perron was someone that Naruto did not want to see in the place, Sunio. The man was badly beaten and unconscious when Naruto came across his cell. It was probably a good thing too, because if he had seen Naruto, he probably would have SD on the spot. Seeing his friend in there made Naruto want to break them all out sooner. Seeing people he didn't know personally suffer was one thing, but seeing one of his friends suffer was another thing entirely. Once Naruto got back to his house, he summoned up some scholar clones to help him come up with a plan. The only plan that would work was one that involved his clones dressing up as agents from other countries. Again, it was a tried and tested tactic. It would have to do the trick. The only questions that remained unanswered were when he would do it, and where would he take them. He obviously couldn't take them back to his house, no matter how big it was. So before he could break him out, he would first have to find a place to set up his base of operations in Sakura no Kuni. So for the next week, Naruto went out of the city to look for the perfect place during the day. Then once night came, he would go to the underground and beat the blood out of the blood clone. At the end of the week, Naruto was lucky enough to find the perfect place. It was a valley not that far from the city. The city was found on and around some hills that had numerous sakura trees. The valley, on the other hand, was more like a forest with only sakura trees. It wasn't too near or too far from the city. Another thing about the valley was that the mountain range that surrounded it was pink, since the slopes were covered in sakura trees that were in full bloom all year round. On the day that he found the perfect place, Naruto opened up a temporary gate and had his army of clones march out and construct the base. The base was something that the clones were used to seeing. It was a fort, built just like the forts that littered Naruto's private world. But instead of having dragons, rocks, or ankylosaurus sent over, Naruto chose direwolves, the ones the size of horses. Once his army was there, Naruto swiftly made his way back to the city just in time for the daimyo to watch him turn his Orochimaru clone into mush. Sometime during that week, Naruto started to get bored with just having a serpent punching bag, so he created another situation which allowed him to have his own Mizuki punching bag. Oh joy, what fun! The loss of blood was worth it. Now that he had his base, he could start his operation, but since he didn't know how the Sakura army worked, he was prepared for a long mission. He had enough clones and supplies to last a month. The operation officially began a week after the base was founded. Unlike Naruto's last operation, which occurred during daytime, this one started at night. More specifically, it started after an hour after dusk. 5 armies from what appeared to be 5 countries silently made their way to the capital. The direwolves, being just a more fearsome and vicious version of man's best friend, had no handler, they only had trainers, and they could work with any of the clones. They too were silent, their black coats were ideal for a nighttime attack. The operation was one based on stealth, the clones were all shinobi clones, no mages or anything else. All of their masks bearing the kanji for the number 4. The clones and the wolves would use every trick they knew of to not be seen by anyone at all. The only clones that were purposely going to make themselves known were the ones wearing the uniforms and colors of the other countries that Naruto had yet to visit. These clones would make their presence known to, at first, all the people that knew of the underground, then everyone else. Among those that they would attack would be an ultimate Chiseobushin, one that would not change how it looked, but look like Naruto himself. Naruto would leave his clone, which he decided to just call the artist clone, to be the one to be him in the capital. He would be one of the model citizens of the country. He would fight valiantly for Sakura no Kuni and create marvelous and beautiful works of art, and so on and so forth. The artist clone would be Naruto's front, which would allow him to move on after the operation was a success. Naruto would personally end the life of his Orochimaru and Mizuki clones, then proceed to personally be the one to save his friend, and not one of his clones. Once the majority of the clones and the wolves were in the city, the actor clones made their move. They simultaneously attacked the residences of all the people that knew of the existence of the underground facility. While that happened, Naruto and his clones dug a hole into the ground, and once they reached the stone ceiling of the facility, he punhead a hole into it, allowing himself and the clones access to the people within. After killing off the clones, Naruto swiftly made his way to where he knew his friend was. As he got there, he was relieved to find his friend still alive. But his friend didn't recognize him since he was disguised as one of the generals of the Sakura army. He picked up his friend with ease and made his way to the hole. Once out of it, he jumped onto the back of one of the direwolves, all the while carrying his friend, with another clone that held 2 more people around their waists. Naruto then had the wolf run as swiftly as it could back to base. Naruto didn't stay there long. As soon as the people were dropped off, he and his clone and the wolf went back to make another pickup. Luckily, due to the chaos caused by the actor clones, all the prisoners were successfully taken back to the base. All were treated. Once they were each given the choice of retreating to the relative safety of the fortress city, all of them chose the other choice. They all decided to stay. Sometime during the next day, Naruto made his way over to his friend to see how he was doing. "Yo, Sunio, how ya feeling?" Naruto asked his friend as he sat down beside the man. "Better than a few hours ago. So, what did you do to get stuck in that hellhole? Would you believe I was trying to do what you guys did? Hey, seriously. Yeah, had I known you were part of some resistance group, I'd have gone to you for help. Had I known you were planning something similar, I would have gladly welcomed you." "What do you mean by you, exactly?" Before Naruto could answer the question, someone else did, one of Naruto's general clones, one that went by the name Waza. "He's the boss of this whole operation," Waza said. Sunio stared at Naruto in disbelief. He couldn't believe that his fellow artist was the man behind the rescue operation. "That true?" Sunio asked Naruto as Waza walked away from the two. "Yeah, it's true," Naruto answered. "So, did you work with another group of liberators or something?" "Yeah, though I don't know what happened to them after our failed operation. We were all sent to different facilities. Do you know where these other facilities are located?" "Yeah, I do. Why? Are you planning on breaking my friends out too?" "Sure am, but you'll have to give me or tell me everything you know about those other facilities." "Oh, that's simple. They're all underground, under all the major cities. If you'd let me, I could draw you a more accurate map of the country." "Draw a map? Yeah. How about you paint one instead? What kind of artist are you anyway?" "I can't paint, I can sculpt, but painting is way beyond me. You'll have to suffer at the sight of a mere drawing." "I think I'll live through the experience." At that, the two men shared a laugh. "You know, you look like you've done this kind of thing before," Sunio said. "That's 'cause I have. Sakura is the 4th country I've done something like this." "So you're the guy in charge of the Naya, Nasu, and Tetsu breakouts?" Amazing. Yeah, well, what else was I supposed to do? Leave those people to rot? No way. Good thing you didn't leave them to rot. You're part of the reason why my original group was founded. We wanted to do as you did in those countries. But it seems that we weren't experienced enough. Well, now that you're working under me, you'll get all the experience you need. On that same note, how would you like to learn how to use the art of puppetry in battle? Is that even possible? Yep. I'd have to see it first to believe it. Sure thing. Follow me, Naruto said as he stood up. The two then went to the supply room, where Naruto fetched two puppets, then led the way to a training ground. Once there, Naruto attached the invisible chakra strings to the two puppets and had them fight one another as Sunio watched. Their movements were basically just punches and kicks, but the mere possibility that puppets could be controlled without the use of strings intrigued Sunio. So Sunio, wanna learn? Sunio just nodded, still slightly shocked. So Naruto led his friend to one of his special clones. It was special in the sense that it was the only one of its kind presently in existence. It was a puppet clone. This clone did not have blood flowing in its veins, it had chakra, its blood was chakra, its bones were made out of solidified chakra. It was special also in the sense that Naruto had merged a soul with the clone, making it one of Naruto's playing god successes. Sunio will be your first student, so don't botch it up, Naruto said to the clone as he walked away to do whatever. I am Chikamatsu Monzemon, puppet master, he said, introducing himself to Sunio. Ah, I am Hyakume Sunio, puppeteer. Any relation to Hyakume? Who? Never mind. Meet me here tomorrow morning so that I may start your training. We will not immediately delve into making our Kagutsu move, since you still need to learn how to access the energy I use to make the invisible strings. Understood. Hi. Good. Then I shall see you tomorrow. After being dismissed, Sunio went off to look for Naruto since he didn't know where he was going to be staying exactly. He found Naruto sitting on one of the branches of a sakura tree. Hey Rosuto, you gonna tell me where I'm gonna sleep or what? He called out to his friend. Huh, you say something, Sunio. Rosuto, I don't know where I'm going to stay. Kidding, I heard you the first time. Naruto then dropped off of the branch. Come on then, I'll show you to the barracks. Naruto led Sunio to the barracks of the base. Instead of going to where the rest of the people were staying, Naruto led the man to a room that had only one other occupant, Monzemon. You'll be staying here with your sensei. Once you've learned enough to be called a master, you'll have to take on at least one student, and so on and so on. I'm staying here. What's this, some sort of Kagutsu division or something? Yup, have fun with Monzemon, Naruto cheerily said as he left his friend alone with the puppet clone. So any chance of getting a head start on those lessons? Fine. 2 weeks had passed before Naruto's forces were ready to go out and take on another city. But the city that they were going to attack was one that had a fortress nearby, since it was close to one of the borders. The day before the attack, Kyonshi had popped up from out of nowhere just to tell Naruto that lesson number 3 had just begun. The man had no sense of time or timing whatsoever. He informed Naruto that lesson number 3 was being lesson number 2. Lesson number 3 was named Legend. Kyonshi gave Naruto the task of becoming a legend. Why? 'Cause he'd already learned enough to be one, that and he couldn't think up anything else Naruto could do at the time. The nut job of an animated corpse also informed Naruto of some added rules to the game, as well as to be prepared for some unnatural things to happen in the future. Coming from Kyonshi, that warning was an omen for bad things to happen. But such things were only going to happen after lesson number 3 ended and Naruto graduated from zombie school. But before leaving Naruto, he informed his pupil that he had added a few other things to his world. Like bigger than normal moles to help Naruto with digging and stuff. It was like Naruto was a character in a game that had leveled up and gained access to more stuff. Since the target had a fully equipped military base near it, one that was prepared for almost any attack, Naruto would send the regular troops to the target, while he would send Monzemon to deal with the fortress. Sunio would go with the troops that would rescue the prisoners since he was as proficient as the puppet clone at commanding and controlling puppet as of yet. Naruto would yet again not be joining the operation. He would be looking after the base, while at the same time sending out another army to another target a week after the one that was about to leave left. The next target did not have a military base near it, but it was farther, it was 3 weeks away from base camp. Then another week after that operation, Naruto would send an army to attack another city to get the prisoners held over there out. That city being a month away. All of the armies that Naruto was sending out were equipped with temporary teleportation gates. He expected all the armies to return to base by the end of the 4th month of that year. By the time the 3rd army would be sent out, the 4th month of that year would have just begun. During the first attack, Monzemon had brought with him only 10 puppets, each one he controlled using only one finger. He stood at a visible distance away from the fortress, which was where he would orchestrate his attack. It was dusk when he struck. He sent the 10 puppets to the base disguised as traveling Aksha who were looking for a place to stay in exchange for a performance. The man in charge of the fortress readily let them in. A play would provide some form of entertainment for his men. Monzemon had mastered the use of his puppets so much that he could literally see what they saw, and if he wanted to feel, hear, smell, and taste what they did as well, via his chakra link with them. That was how he masterfully controlled them. From the get-go, his puppets were already in a play. Once the play had ended, the puppets were led to a room. They were even given a young plaything to toy with if they wished. The appearance of the young woman caused Monzemon to grow curious. He decided to have one of the puppets investigate, snoop around the fortress and see if there were any prisoners held and TD there. By asking the man in charge of the fortress for the possibility of another plaything, it was led to the dungeons of the fortress, where it found around 100 men and women. The women were for stress relief, while the men were used as an output for pent-up negative emotions. Finding that out, Monzemon knew what he was going to do. His next actions would forever immortalize his name in history, as the puppeteer to take down a fortress with only 10 puppets. How that would happen if Naruto was supposed to be the only one who knew how to use chakra to the extent that he did, would be because he was not the only one who knew how to manipulate chakra. Passing in view of the fortress would be a nomadic clan that knew how to manipulate chakra. Their speciality would be the use of chakra strings to move things around, none of which were puppet as they were still far too complex for the clan. Once Monzemon initiated his attack, it quickly turned into AS. He was authorized to use jutsu via his puppets, and use them he did. It would not matter since the only witnesses would be prisoners that were to be let out, and they would be too weak to actually see and be mesmerized by the attacks that Monzemon was going to use. Once he initiated his attack, that would be the signal for the rescue army to begin their operation. The city would be in high alert, sending all available men to the fortress. Once that happened, Naruto's fortress would do as they did in the capital, which is what they did once Monzemon unleashed his puppets on the unsuspecting soldiers. By dawn, the whole fortress had been brought to the ground, not a soldier was left standing. But all the 100 or more prisoners were freed, Monzemon standing amongst them and preparing his temporary teleportation gate for use. His puppets were searching the ruble for any soldier that he missed. An hour after dawn, 3 families from the nomad clans separated from their passing group and headed for where the fortress once later investigated its destruction. They found the former prisoners, the puppets, and Monzemon there. The eldest among the 3 families approached Monzemon. "Were you the one that did this?" he asked. "Yes. Now what do you want?" "How? Does it matter?" "Yes, it matters. My clan is one of the few clans out in the world that know how to do what you did. I want to know how is it that you were able to do it." "Ah, one of the nomads then. We were wondering when we'd encounter one of you. You haven't answered my question." "Practice, practice, practice. Well, since you've got us interested in your art, would it be possible to learn from you? If you agree to help my master with his plans, sure, why not? I'm already teaching someone else my art." "Thank you." He walked back to his family and told them that they would not be returning to the clan. Some of the members of the 3 families were not pleased with his decision, but he was the eldest of them and therefore the one to be followed. The decision was based on the want to further master the clan's speciality. The rescue operation went without a hitch. All the defending soldiers had rushed to the fortress as it was the first place that was attacked. That led to all of the deaths. The only souls that witnessed the destruction was the passing clan and the people of the nearby city. The city had suffered no deaths. They hadn't even known that they too were attacked until they found all of their prisoners missing. All in all, the mission was a success. The same went for the other 2 Amri's missions, except they suffered some losses, clones at least. Whenever one of the people were about to get killed or hurt too badly, a clone would take its place with a quick kawarimi. No one noticed how it happened, but the clone would burst into flames after it was killed. This made the people reflect on how loyal Naruto's men were to him. They went as far as to not allow even their bios to be possessed by the enemy. By thinking it over, they noticed that the clones followed Naruto's every order, and anticipated some of the things he had them do. Their loyalty and willingness to serve him was great. Some of the people wondered what it was that got him to decide to fight with him. Was it because he had somehow rescued them, saved them from their life as prisoners, or was it something more? It's easy and natural to be grateful to one's savior, but to be willing to fight alongside said savior was another thing entirely. That was when the people realized that there was just something about Naruto that one couldn't help but like, and be around. The oppressed people of 4 countries had gravitated to Naruto. What the people also realized was that all of the clones wore the kanji for the number 4 either on their sleeve or on their shirt or coat. Once all the people were at the base and were all treated for this and that, they all chose to stay at the base and help out where they could. The 3 families that had come along with Monzaemon were the only ones aside from Sunio to be taught Kagutsu no Jutsu. A month after those 3 missions, Naruto appointed Monzaemon and Sunio as the commanders of the Sakura base. He planned on leaving the country soon for less beautiful pastures. His next destination was Tenshi no Kuni, which was named that since most of the populace looked like angels, this was a country that Sakura and Tetsu did not attack as much. One could say that they could become allies if it weren't for a few disagreements. Sakura thought that the country's people were beautiful, but since such beauty was shared by both genders they thought it immoral, that and the countryside was too ugly for Sakura to take. Tetsu would have allied or made peace with the country since even though they looked like angels they were devils in everything else. The reasons why Tetsu did not ally themselves with that country was that Tenshi viewed cannibalism as too much for them. Also Tetsu did not like the fact that the people of Tenshi all looked weak, they hid their strength. Naruto reached the capital of Tenshi no Kuni a month after leaving his Sakura base. The capital was by far the strangest one in design. All the buildings looked like enlarged shrines, while the castle looked like a temple. The people of Tenshi no Kuni took their being angels a bit too seriously, since they went so far as to live in such a city. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.